Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the Harry Potter reviews and closer to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which I'm super pumped for. Before I get into the review, I just want to say that my copy of The Cursed Child is resting on the legs of Batman. I'm just proud of that. I don't know. So Half-Blood Prince was once again directed by David Yates, and this was also the first film in the franchise for a while to be rated PG. In this movie, it starts out with Harry still trying to get a date. Harry is still very much so in the middle of puberty, and Dumbledore comes along and ruins everything. Man, what a terrible wingman. One of my favorite things about the Half-Blood Prince is that Harry has become very accustomed at this point to things not going his way. So a large portion of this movie is him kind of like, yeah, I get it. Life sucks. I understand. He still has that love of magic and that awe for it, but there is a part of him that's grown colder, that's grown darker, because every time he gets slightly ahead, he's always knocked back. So Dumbledore takes Harry to recruit Horace, played by Jim Broadbent, who is someone they really need to teach at this school who has some reluctance about it. This guy has crucial memories of Tom Riddle's youth, now Voldemort, and Dumbledore tries to use Harry to get closer to Horace so they can get that information from him, because Dumbledore is positive that this very crucial memory can help them defeat Voldemort. So Half-Blood Prince is a very subtle movie. It's very quiet. There isn't much happening in this movie. It's definitely the most uneventful Harry Potter film. That isn't necessarily a bad thing though, because this film is really, in my opinion, the very first adult Harry Potter film. Even though Order of the Phoenix and Goblet of Fire and Azkaban got darker than the last ones, this film does feel like it's more aimed at adults, because there is a lot of inaction, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of character building, and there's barely any magic battles at all. It's a very character-driven movie, and that's a big compliment for a movie like this that appeals to a young demographic, because Harry Potter as a franchise has that rare quality that very few franchises of this type have, that of appealing to adults and kids. Also, some very important things happen towards the end of this movie for Harry Potter's life, that of Dumbledore's death at the hands of Severus Snape. And so this movie absolutely had to build that relationship between Harry and Dumbledore, because Order of the Phoenix didn't really explore it at all, because Dumbledore was pretty much avoiding Harry for the majority of that movie. So this movie really had to build those characters, so when those really important scenes come at the end of the movie, they have emotional weight. And Half-Blood Prince definitely did that. There are aspects of this movie that do bother me though. After Harry becoming a teacher and teaching all the kids magic and the big magic battle at the end of Order of the Phoenix, this movie is at times a little slow paced, and so there are parts of this movie, despite all the character depth, that do drag. But my biggest issue with this movie is that it took out certain things from the book that would really have helped explain a few things that happen in this movie. Like at the end, when Dumbledore and Harry just show up in this cave with this liquid that Dumbledore has to drink that's very poisonous, and it's very difficult for him to drink. It's a very intense scene. It's very scary. It's very thrilling with the Inferius that come out of the water. It's very cool. But how did they get there? How did Dumbledore know to get there? Certain visions that are needed to explain things were omitted from this film, and so some things actually don't quite always make sense, and things don't tie together as well as they should, unless you read the book. But gratefully, just like the other films, even when they get dark, this movie retains a great sense of humor that allows us to remember who these characters really are. Like Harry, when he decides to drink his liquid luck that was given to him by Horace, he just gets so excited. Everything's just great. He's happy, which is so funny because for the majority of the movie, he's on the absolute opposite side of that spectrum emotionally. So to see him go to that height was really entertaining. This movie also explores the relationship between Harry and Ginny more so than the others. There's a great scene where Harry gets up when Ginny walks into a room, and it was adorable. If I'm sitting, I am going to stand up the next time my wife enters a room. It'll make her feel good. Try it. People with significant others, stand up when they walk into a room and show them respect. I bet you'll have a great day. There's also a scene in this movie I've always laughed at for two reasons. One, it actually is very funny, and two, I'm a huge fan of a certain anime.
What is this meeting, Bobo? Dragon Balls.
I just can't help but love the fact that Harry Potter just said Dragon Balls. It makes me all tingly in my nerd organs. So Harry is eventually able to convince Horace to tell him what he needs to know by using the memory of his mother. It's a very touching scene, it was really heartfelt, and he finally figures out what he needs to know, and through him and Dumbledore, they go on a search for the Horcruxes, devices that are linked to Voldemort's very being, and if they can destroy all of them, they destroy Voldemort. And that's where we get that really intense scene we already discussed. But towards the end of this movie, this is when it gets really, really sad. Because Draco is a lot worse than he used to be. He's no longer just a bully. He's getting really close to Voldemort, and he has that evil brewing within him, but he's not sure if he has to act on it yet. And Severus steps in and kills Dumbledore. But there is a sense, a little hint, that they have some sort of arrangement, and you're not entirely sure. This entire finale is just painfully sad. With the death of Dumbledore, it feels as if hope has been completely lost at Hogwarts, and Harry knows he has to go out with Hermione and Ron to find those Horcruxes and destroy Voldemort. And the very last scene with the three of them talking, seeing the Phoenix fly away, was truly touching. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is not my favorite movie. It is a bit uneventful, as I said. It does take some liberties with removing things from the book that would have helped by putting those things in the movie, but still, it's a very entertaining movie with great character depth, and it's also a very mature movie. I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince a B+. Next up, guys, is the beginning of the end, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Look forward to that, guys. You're the best. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.